All right. Hi, guys. I'm here to talk to you about escaping your mental prison. And what I mean by that is when our tendency to get trapped in our heads and to start overthinking things, where uh, it can even make the most simple of tasks very difficult to accomplish. Like last week when I was at work, I was counting the money for the shifts. I realized 3 minutes into it that I was laughing at something that I was thinking about, and the other employee was like, "What are you laughing about?" And then I was like, "Shit, I could have." Uh, and now I need to recount everything because I got lost in my own head. I started thinking about other stuff, random thoughts. Now I don't even remember what I was thinking about, but it wastes time. Or today when I was cooking breakfast, I realized, wow, uh, 5 minutes of that time I was thinking about other things, or 5 or 10 minutes. So like a 20-minute meal for just cooking it and eating it now took 30 minutes. Even while I'm eating, like I stop eating and then for like a minute I'm like, oh shit, I'm not eating anymore. I started randomly thinking about something. And 10 minutes a day for just breakfast alone adds up to about like 3,600 minutes a year, and that's 60 hours of my lifetime right there that I could have spent doing other things like following my dreams, going back to my first video. And another thing a mental prison will get in the way of is actually going out and trying new things, or trying whatever you want to do. Like right now, I'm working on my social skills, especially learning how to pick up girls or talk to girls. And let's say I'm at a club and I see this girl smile at me while we're on the dance floor, right? Now, one of two things happen, and both of these things have happened. The first is uh, I start to think about it, and I'm like, okay, was she looking at me? Do you think she likes me? What if she doesn't like me? What if I approach her and she rejects me? What if I approach her though and she actually does want to talk to me? And how do I know for sure if she actually wanted to talk to me, or how do I know if she was just like dancing and her head happened to turn in my direction? And by the time I'm done with this whole mental train of thought, I'm she's probably already gone, first of all, because we don't have that long of attention span when we're at the club. But if she's not gone, then I already lost the will to walk up to her because I already started creating all these excuses in my head, these reasons to doubt myself, or reasons to be like, maybe the next girl, if I see her look at me, I'll just go up and approach her. But I just, by doing that already, I'm creating the habit of where I start to overthink things and I let that take over me. I don't let myself overcome my that mental prison. I let the monkey of my in my head take control. Or to explain that, in Buddhism they call this mental prison, it can be compared to the monkeys in our heads. Like these monkeys are in our head trying to grab for our attention, and when they successfully do that, they can stop us from doing. In that specific instance, it stopped me from approaching a girl, and this can get really problematic further down the line if you continuously let those monkeys take control. And uh, the third part about the mental prison is that, especially if you were someone like me that has gone through a great depression before, the mental prison is one of the biggest aspects to getting into a depression, other than like some huge life event getting in the way, or something crazy that went on in your life that pushed you to go out, or that pushed you into a depression. But a big part of that depression is overthinking things. And what I mean by that is, like last year, I went through this period of like maybe 4 months where I was super depressed because I didn't have a direction in my life, and I thought that was consuming me. I would go into the shower and cry because I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. I don't know why I should get out of bed. I don't know like why I'm taking the shower anymore. Why should I even get out of bed? That was one of the hardest things for me. And over time, I started to realize the biggest part of this depression is because I'm overthinking things. I'm constantly thinking about why. And the answer to all those whys is it'll never stop. If you keep asking those whys, it'll never stop. And the further you go down that spiral, it's just a self-destructive path. For instance, I would be like, why should I get out of bed? Or why should I eat healthy? Or why should I even eat at all? What if I'm not even hungry? And and this goes on for days at a time. And I stopped doing things that I used to think that I love, and I stopped talking to people, and I wasn't as energetic. I wasn't as happy. It was noticeable too because I would spend almost all of my time in my room, and it's mostly the overthinking. What helped me get out of uh, that hole was learning to be more present and learning to stop overthinking things. So by stopping overthinking, if I wanted to eat something, I would just eat it, which sounds funny, but when I was depressed, before I ate anything, I would start asking myself, why do I want to eat this? Does it really taste good? Like, why do I think this tastes good? Have I been conditioned to think this tastes good, or am I actually hungry? What if I stop eating for like 3 days and see what happens? Like, am I actually hungry, or do I just want to eat this? Whereas now I'm like, I want to eat this because it nourishes me. I want to eat breakfast today because it's going to nourish me, give me energy to go to work, and there's no reason to starve myself. And I don't even consciously think about these things. I just eat breakfast now because overthinking it will just get me. It's a waste of time, and it'll just put me back into that really dark place in my life that I don't want to go back to. So the solution is to stop overthinking things, is to try to be as present as possible. And what I mean by this is when you're going out there and let's say, when I want to work on my music and I sit down, I'm not on my phone, I'm not talking to somebody else, I'm not eating a bag of chips, I'm working on the music, or I'm listening to other music, or something related to music. I stay in that state of mind. I don't want to lose that state. And or let's say I wanted to approach girls at a club. I would stop overthinking. If I see a girl look at me, I just walk up to her and ask her if she wants to dance. If she doesn't, awesome. I don't have to keep thinking like, does she like me? Does she not like me? Does she think I'm weird? No, it's over right there. And if she says yes, then that was my goal, right? Just meeting people, meeting girls, walking up to them, being successful like that. And it stops you from wasting your time. Another example would be like even at work, like today. When I'm at work, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing later today, which is going to the airliner in Lincoln Heights. Because if I start doing that, then I forget to do things at work. And when I'm at the airliner later tonight, I'm going to start thinking, oh, what if I think I forgot to do this or that? So I can't enjoy the airliner because now I'm thinking about what I forgot to do in the beginning of the day. And in the beginning of the day, I was thinking about what I wanted to do later in the day. So that just creates a huge jumbled up mess in your head. So being present is what can help you really stop worrying about the past and the future. Or even, stop worrying about the past or the future, because when you're in the present, you bring the best side of yourself to the table, because you're fully focused, or not even fully, but you're 80% focused, let's say, which is way better than the walking around with 100 things going through your head at once. Right now I'm at work, I'm just going to think about work, and when I'm done with work, I don't have to keep thinking about work, because now work was in the past, and I'm going to go do the next thing I want to do today. Or even like with approaching girls, like I was saying, like I could either just approach her and like get all of my questions out like right away, or I could think about it for 20 minutes, not approach anybody else, doubt myself, start making reasons and excuses, start thinking that like maybe I'm not that good, maybe I should stop doing this, and it's just self-destructive. So being present is one of the most important things in order for you to get into the habit of escaping that mental prison. So some exercises that I would suggest for escaping this mental prison is free writing, because what free writing is I, every day, or as often as you want to, sit down at my computer and pick a random topic. There could even be no topic, but let's say I pick a random topic and I just type a complete page without stopping. I don't even think about what I'm writing anymore. I'm just typing about that topic. Like the other week I did one about chocolate, and I didn't even know I had a page worth of information to write about chocolate. But when you stop thinking about things and you just start typing, or it'll come out as garbage. It's not going to be complete sentences all the time. Over time, it will become complete sentences when you start to learn to think faster, but at the beginning, it's going to be complete garbage. But what this also helps you do is it gives you 5 minutes of the day where you're just typing, and you're not thinking about things. So like, it helps to calm down those monkeys in your mind. You can't get rid of them because we're humans and we have the tendency to overthink things, but you can always quiet them down. So free writing is a great way to do that. And you can do this at random points throughout the day too. Just if you find yourself like thinking a lot about a certain thing while you're doing something else, like if I am at the club and I start thinking like, wow, I'm overthinking this approaching girls thing way too much, I'll pull my friend to the side and I'll talk to them about it for 2-3 minutes, get all of my ideas out there. We can bounce ideas back and forth. I can go dance for a minute or two and get back into my happy state of mind and go out there and approach more girls. Free writing, or it could even be said out loud, or free talking, and this is a great way to just like I was saying, free those monkeys of your mind, or quiet them down a bit. And over time, you'll also start to realize how much of an attention span you have, or how much of complete focused time you can actually give yourself before you start like going on all of these mental tangents. In a Darren Hardy video, he actually talks about them in jam sessions. And a lot of people, it's really hard for them to have more than 20 or 30 minutes of completely focused work. But that, even if you can do 20-30 minutes, what you can do in 20-30 to 30 minutes of completely focused and dedicated work is amazing. Every 20-30 minutes, take a 2-minute break and do some free writing, or even a 1-minute break. Just completely free write and get whatever thoughts you might think are popping into your head, get them out on paper or something. Or it'll get you into the habit where when you're doing one, you only start doing one thing at a time. A lot of people think multitasking is a great skill to have, but really when you're multitasking, most of the time it's switching. You're writing a paper, and then you go eat food, and then you go build. You get the gist of it. Or like when I'm working today, I could be pricing certain items, and then I'm going to go count the shift money, and then I'm going to go and then I'm going to start switching in between them. I'm going to start talking to a salesman. I'm going to go back to like counting the shift money. Then I go back to doing more paperwork. But that just makes each one of those single tasks takes more time. If I could just focus and be like, right now I'm going to count the money, 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna price things, 5 minutes. Then I'm gonna talk to all the salesmen, 5 minutes. It works way better when you focus on one thing at a time. And multitasking just ends up taking a lot more of your time, and it takes away from your mental capacity. So that's also combined with the free writing. A third exercise, which isn't always going to be the most useful because in certain settings it could just seem really weird, but talking to yourself. So when I'm at home, if anybody were to walk by at any random point of the day, they could think I'm just a fucking lunatic, because I talk to myself a lot, because I don't want to get stuck into the habit of every time I have a train of thoughts running through my head to just keep them in there and to let them ruminate and just kind of grow, and they feed off of each other. These thoughts, they just keep coming. So if I get into the habit of talking out loud, or talking my thoughts out loud, then I don't start to get lost in my thoughts. They become more real and more tangible, because they aren't just these random ideas bouncing around in my head. When you're forced to say something out loud, you're forced to, especially if you force yourself to keep talking out loud, very similar to free talking, but just talking out loud, it keeps you present and it allows you to do one thing at a time. Because let's say when I'm writing music and I start to have these random thoughts, and it really just pushes me out of my state. What if I just stopped and just started talking out loud to myself? I can't be working on music, so I can't tell myself I was just working on music. When you start talking to yourself out loud, it completely stops whatever else you were doing, and it's like, okay, now I'm actually thinking about something. I want to talk to myself about it out loud, and it'll help you get into that habit of, let's say, even with that example with talking to girls at a club, What if I just asked those questions that were ruminating in my head straight to the girl? Like she looked at me and I was like, oh, is she looking at me? Does she like me? What if instead of thinking those things, I walked straight up to her and I was like, hey, I think I saw you looking at me, but I really want to dance with you because that's what it looks like you want to do. She's either going to say yes or no. It's 50-50, and most of the time, if you do it like pretty nicely, or I'm working on like getting the skills for it to work more than 50-50 because there's a lot of techniques you can use to like increase your chances, but in the end, it's a yes or no. And if you ruminate on it and you overthink it, it'll just push you to make reasons and excuses, and then you'll already start to doubt yourself and it'll show on your face. Whereas if you just walk over there confidently, or if I just walk over there confidently and ask you right away, like, hey, I want to dance with you, then it'll probably work better because I'm in a better state of mind. I was dancing and having fun, going straight to asking the questions rather than letting my thoughts overcome me or letting those monkeys take control. And again, talking to yourself out loud, if you're in a work setting, it might not be the best thing to do. Some people your boss might get worried, but you also can do it in different ways, like quietly whisper to yourself or something. Then somebody might ask you and be like, no, I just whisper to myself sometimes, like I'm overthinking some things. Or you could just tell them right away, like, I'm doing this exercise I saw in a video where it says to escape my mental prison. Saying my thoughts out loud will help make them tangible and will help me to be present in whatever I'm doing. And it takes time. Obviously, the same thing I was saying in my first video, consistency. You have to build these habits. You're never going to be perfect, but it gets better over time. You can start to focus for longer periods of time. You'll start to have better interactions with people because we've all had it when we're talking to someone, and they might be talking to us and they give us a paragraph worth of information, but I realized 15 seconds in that I wasn't listening to half of the things they were saying because I started going on these other mental tangents. Whereas if I learned to be present and just to look at the person and actually listen to what they were saying, I'd get so much more information. I'd get so much more out of the interaction. It looks like I'm more interested, and I am more interested because I'm actually listening. So it'll help in all these different areas of your life. And that's my video on escaping your mental prison. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'm a nice guy. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.